Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in this big, beautiful world that we live in. Welcome, affirmers, to the AM Affirmation Podcast, where we talk about all things women supporting women, how we do what we do, and why we do what we do, and all the things. So, welcome, welcome, and welcome, as we used to say in our speeches at church. We would say that welcome three
We
times.
welcome you once, we welcome you twice, we'll welcome you three times in the
Yeah,
name of the
I'm not sure why it took three times. I'm not.
because you
Anyway,
wasn't paying attention. Church folks, they don't listen.
anyway, welcome, affirmers. Thank you for coming back to watch another episode with myself and these two beautiful women. My name is Karen Fairweather, also called the Affirmation Whisperer and the founder of Boldly Becoming Her. I have a newsletter that you can find on Substack called Boldly Becoming Her. Wonderful issues there. I do invite you to go and become a subscriber there. I am a two-time best-selling author. I have a community of women who believe in speaking well about themselves, which included my two co-hosts. They are, because of them, I have the show. Because of them, I have this show. So we have lots going on. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Marcy to introduce herself.
Well, hello everyone. I am Marcy Trueheart. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a podcaster. I'm an affirmation dealer. I'm a shapeshifter, a water bender, and I am a healer. And I'm
Yes.
passing it over to Clivia. Oh yeah,
You
you can
dealt with
reach
that
me at
card.
Marcy.moments.
There you go. Thanks for the deal. If you ever pass me the mic, I'm like, all right, that was my dealer. Okay, so I am Clivia Allen. I am the servant leader at Chosen 31 Essentials, where we focus on storytelling by way of dance, publication, book publication, magazines, and many different things, and also media, where you share your story on hashtag Her Chosen Story. Those untold stories that you think is ordinary, someone else would find it extraordinary. So to learn more and to join that community, you can visit me at cliviaallen.com. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all, let's get started with our topic for today. Our topic for today is becoming a bonus parent in your second act. The beauty and the
Ooh.
boundaries. Well, let me tell you, two of us in this room weren't real crazy about this topic because of our desire not to deal with younger children in this stage, children, period, actually, in this stage of our lives. I ain't going to say who, I'm just going to say two. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I think you know already.
Just not interested in dealing with relationships that include children. Maybe an exception or two to that, but
Yeah,
sometimes
there's
you're
definitely an exception. Maybe one exception, maybe
right,
one in a possible.
right. So, second act love often comes with something extra. You find that you and this wonderful man find each other, and in getting to know each other, he has some dependents that are still at home, or some young dependents that you would think that he wouldn't have young dependents, but he does have a young dependent. And it's like, children. And we know children, it requires a lot. I had a rule at once and it could still be a rule for me. I just haven't thought about it here lately. That if you have children under the age of 21, it's a no go for me, because I firmly do believe that a man should be investing in his children, and I require quite a bit. I require quite a bit, and I didn't think it would be fair for me to take away from him, especially if he didn't have the means that he should be pouring into his children. I still do believe that.
That's good.
When it comes down to being a bonus parent, a bonus parent, that comes with a lot. It comes with a lot, and it comes with you truly assessing yourself to determine if that's something you want to do, because now you're taking on the responsibility of someone else's children that aren't yours, that may have a different way of raising them, that looks at discipline different than you do,
Mhm.
looks at support differently than you do. So, what are the expectations versus what is the reality of a life such as that? So, no one tells you or even talk about what the outside parent may expect. And even in the dating, if you're dating someone with children, young children, dependent children, what is that person on the outside of the relationship? What is their opinion of you interacting with their children? What does that look like? Now you can expect one thing, but what you really gonna get is something else. So something to assess for yourself when it comes down to being a bonus parent. That's a huge responsibility. When a man is taking care of somebody else's children, let's say you have children and your man comes in, he literally is taking on a responsibility to a degree. Even if you are receiving support from a birth father, there's still that man is taking on to a degree the responsibility of someone else's child. If it's the
Yeah.
woman, she's taking on the responsibility of another woman's child. So
Right.
so much going with that, loving someone with their full history. So ladies, let's make sure we ask all the right questions when we're going into these relationships. Please, please ask questions about children.
License and registration, please, and birth certificates and
How many of these
medical
things do you
records.
have? First of all, how many have you reproduced?
Hmm.
And how many last names do these children have?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
also, what is the relationship between
The
the
mothers.
mother, the child, and you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, because I know with my ex-husband, he had two children. His son is deceased now, but his daughter, but the because me and my ex-husband grew up together pretty much, so I knew his daughter from the age of 2,
Mm.
and T could be 36 or 37 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little easier
Mm-hmm.
Right.
when I got married, because she knew who I was. But also the relationship with them two were pretty strained, and I was the one who pretty much bridged that relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Teak was hard headed, but she listened to me. And her mom and I were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we were friends when we were younger. I mean, we're still friends now because I can call my bonus daughter's mama and say I'm on my way to spend the weekend at your house, and I'm I can't wait for you to get here, Marcy. Food to be ready. So because we had that maturity level, and
Mm-hmm.
even with my son and um his first great stepmother, we were really actually, as a matter of fact, not only was I went to the first stepmother's second wedding, I was in her third wedding. And she had a daughter while they were together. So her daughter was my niece.
Mm-hmm.
And then my bonus daughter, um, we've been through some stuff together, but when I tell you that I know that thing love me, and I love that thing right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when me and her father broke up, she said, "Care, you are my mom." She said, "If anything was to happen, because her mom lives in South Carolina, she said, "Mom, if anything was to happen to me until my mother gets here, I need my mother to be here." He said, "Until my mother comes from South Carolina, you will be in as my mother." So,
Mm-hmm.
now my stepson, our relationship was a little more strained, due to him just being young, and not. just yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
But it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. You said something very key though, Miss Marcy, about maturity level. I think when adults are interacting in a scenario where there are children involved, maturity level absolutely has something to do with it, and the other party having it's accepted that they and the party you are now involved with are no longer have a chance. It's done. It's over. That's a wrap. So having a mindset of understanding and respecting boundaries, I believe, are very important when it comes to bonus children navigating those loyalty lines. Who am I going to listen to? This woman that my dad is now involved with, or my mom? And you know,
Mm.
children can be manipulated. They can be very manipulating because they feel like they can get something from you as opposed to their mom. They're gonna come to you because they know that you trying to be nice because you want the dad to be happy. See what I'm saying? Just so much goes into that. And now another thing that we have to be mindful of is not being the first. I'm not the mother of this child. So there's another woman who has a place in this family story. Being
Oh yeah.
comfortable with that because I won't be first. I'm not the first woman for this child. I'm not the first woman for this man. Outside of other relationships, we're talking about this family dynamics. She's the mother of this child. He used to be married to her, involved with her. So she will always be a part of this story. You being comfortable with that as the new woman.
Definitely. And with that, once again, it's maturity level.
It
Like I
is.
said, with me, with my son, and because my son's father got married quite a few times, I said, "Hey, stop clogging up the courts. Let me get married at least." But the only because his my son has two sisters, but his first sister is the one, like, I am a staple in her life
Mhm.
now. And with my bonus children from my ex-husband, um my first my daughter, she, like I said, me and her mother are close. Like, actually, her mom was at me and my husband's wedding in Jamaica.
Mm.
She said, "I'm coming to Jamaica." I said, "Come on, girl, we're gonna have fun." But it's also, you don't find that, very rare do you find that.
True.
And I'm just like my but my bonus son, his mother was a lot different. Woo, Jesus. But that was just, but the dynamics of
Yeah.
our relationships was totally different.
Yeah.
The son was it was a lot harder. Um, Actually, I was just telling my friend about this today, how honestly something that my bonus son did, which literally started to break down my marriage.
Oh wow. Oh
That
wow.
was I think that was something that happened, definitely was the turning point of
Mhm.
my marriage in the most negative way.
Yeah.
Um, Not blaming him for my marriage being completely dissolved, because like you said, me and my ex-husband, we both played a part in it. We
Right.
both did our wrong.
Right. Right.
So, but yeah, my
Yeah.
stepson, my
So
bonus.
when you talk about that, Miss Marcy, it brings to mind for me because for myself, I met my son's son, youngest son, before I actually met him. I was babysitting for the son was staying with another relative, and I was babysitting for her. So I met the son first before I met his father, knowing that the son had a mom that was somewhere else. She was having some issues. So I knew about the family dynamics of this child as far as the mother was concerned before I met his father. So having met his father in a totally different setting, not even in me dropping out the son or picking them up, in a totally different setting, I met the father, finding out later that he was the father of the child that I was babysitting. So I'm
Mm.
thinking, wow,
You had a Tyler Perry moment.
look at here. Look at here. And then because I knew the dynamics with the mom, already aware that now the father is brought into the picture. We start dating, decide to get married. Fortunately, the mom, she was such that she knew she was not in a place in many ways of taking care of the child. And me
Mm.
being the natural nurturer that I am, it was all very copacetic. But then I met the other son of my former husband, um, whose mother,
Uh huh.
she has some issues going on too, and that son stayed with her mom. So I had many different dynamics,
Complexities.
right,
Yeah.
to deal with. And then years later, finding out there's a daughter. Oh, she's the first, I believe, that was up north. So here I am in the middle of this matrix of children and their mother, and here I am now. We have two children together. So there's our two children together, and then his three children that are outside of that, and having at some point or another to interact with the mothers of the two boys. Very amicable, I will say that. Never had any issues with the moms and such. And then later, after my son came, he has another son. So it's just quite a web, right?
Mm-hmm.
So me being in the middle, I felt like I was like in the middle of this matrix of people and dynamics and connections. And this child's mother doesn't is has a different mother than that child, and that child's mother and this mother don't talk to each other. And it's like, whoa, hold on, y'all deal with that. I'm gonna stay over here and I'm gonna deal with this. If I don't want to be in, it's just was a lot. And at the time I was in my 20s. So
Mm.
imagine being in my 20s, imagine managing all this, the emotional labor that came with that. Sometimes I was
Mm-hmm.
just exhausted. And like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know nothing. Don't tell me if it ain't got nothing to do with these four walls. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
know about it because it was just such an emotionally laborious thing to deal with. The child, what's going on with one child and the child's mother and that mother and the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, who's on first base, second base, and third base. I don't want to play no more. I just don't want to play no more. I don't want to
Pickleball.
play no more. It was a lot to deal with. And having being very immature, I'll admit that, very immature, not knowing much of the world because I grew up very sheltered. To go from being very sheltered into the dynamics of all that was very overwhelming for me. Being
Mm-hmm.
immature, not knowing much about the world, not asking the right questions, not finding out stuff to much, much later
Yeah.
about the various dynamics that existed with this man. And I'm owning my part of it. I should have asked better questions. I should have became more informed. I did not. Okay. So now I have to make a decision. But had I known what I knew, what I found out later, yeah, that would have been a no-go. Because it's just so much to deal with. I didn't have any children at the time. So to go into a relationship that three kids existed, not just one, but three with three different baby mamas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was that was a lot. So anyway, let me give a reflective question. What did Here we go. This is a great question too. What did I assume this role would require of me? It was definitely
Love
not
that.
three baby mamas. It was not.
Oh my gosh.
So, Clivia, talk to us about the emotional and spiritual maturity this role demands, ma'am.
Yes. Love, boundaries, and emotional wisdom. I think back to when I was getting divorced and their dad had started dating someone that same year. And having to, and I didn't know, thank God the youngest started to talk because she just told me everything and I loved it. This person had two children and I felt very anxious to know, okay, they left Friday, they came back home Sunday. And I always did like body checks. Did anyone, because she had a boy and a girl. So I used to say, did anybody touch you inappropriate? Who showered you? Who, because the dad didn't communicate with me. And I started to think like, is this what I would have to deal with when it comes to not just saying, because again, we spoke about that waiting period where I wasn't in a rush to move onto a relationship, but he did. So now it was new territory for me where now I have to deal with possibly a bonus parent for them, making sure that they're good, they're safe. And it happened over time where, again, I started to talk to someone and he has two children, but they don't live in the country. So I'm like, okay, this could be good. But for my two, it's like, well, who is this person that you're talking to, mom? Because I didn't just start dating, right? I sat them down and I said, and this was in 2024, late 2024. And I said, you know what? I'm deciding that I don't want to grow old. Mommy's not getting any younger. So I am going to start dating. There were frowns, maybe a little tear in the eye. And I'm like, no one's going to replace you. And one of the things where it's love without overstepping, because those were conversations I did have with the person. Well, you have two and I have two. And I was asked questions where, okay, if we get married and your daughter say that I did something, do I get kicked out? Oh, and then the question was, she comes to me that this person that you're now married to does something, but we now have a child together, right? Do I get kicked out and then you keep my child that I had with you? So it was a lot of different questions being thrown and out, like different scenarios. And I'm like, I don't know. I got to think about it, because now this is also my child. So there's a lot, like you say, you didn't know what the last, that reflection question, like, we didn't know what we were signing up for, right? And this person haven't met them yet. And now we're in 2026. Why? Because it may or may not work, right? But I'm still protecting them even at this age where it's like I'm setting boundaries still,
Yeah.
respecting family systems. So for me, it's like, okay, I am their mom, but now you're my husband, right?
Yeah.
So we have to now have family meetings. Okay, this is how old he is, this is how old she is. There is a level of respect. They're not going to disrespect you. You would be, let's say, the breadwinner, so to speak. I'm also, I'm contributing, but they have to respect, okay, this guy is now helping my mom pay some bills. So there's different things that we can do, not overstepping, respecting family systems, knowing your place and defining it. So this is me now, okay, possibly again, I might be a bonus parent to some children. I don't know. And I may not be. And then for the man, I think for the man, they get pressure, right? Because now it's like, okay, this woman has children. I got to deal with, baby kids. We used to call them baby kids
They
in New
don't
York.
die, they multiply.
And sometimes that's why women, and we talked about that empty nest. This is why sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to have to deal with my child or my children. I want to raise them for myself. I want to teach them the values, and then let me go have my fun. So I think that's also one of the reasons why
Yeah.
where we don't want to deal with that. And I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, okay, 4 more years, one would be gone, and then there's the youngest. I might just wait. I don't know. There might be a wedding in a few years. Who knows? Releasing savior narratives. And this one, I did take notes on this third one. Releasing savior narratives. You don't have to rescue people to be valuable or loved. It's not your job to save others to make everything better for them. Helping is good, but believing you must fix things can hurt you and them. Everyone has to learn and grow on their own. And again, I do a lot of talking, and this show again has helped me so much. So again, you guys experience certain things with being a bonus parent. You're older than I am. So this is for me and the listeners to learn, because I talk to them about certain things that this is what it might be. Your dad moved on so many times. It's my turn, right? And I want you guys to respect that and respect me. Yes, Marcy.
Your dad moved on so many times.
So many times. And that hurts.
Woo!
It hurts because they have been exposed to these different people. So
Yeah.
they see on stability. They
Yeah.
see, okay, can
Yeah.
daddy keep it together? And I think for me, they will respect me even more. Like, okay, but it also boils down to what's the last one? Compassion without sacrifice. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things, and you guys have sons where they're overprotective. And I know my son don't want to see me hurt. So it's like, okay, who's this guy? Why do you have to date mom? You don't have to date mom. And he says that, I'm like, leave me alone and let me do my thing. And my daughter's she's more clingy and things like that. So it's that unwavering balance. Like, okay, mom, I do want to see you happier. But my son is like, no, mom, I think you're good. I'm like, you're going to be gone in a few years, my love. So I need to figure it out. But he's very, and again, you guys can touch on that too, because, and I don't want it to be a scary thing for the person coming in and then for them to be, intimidated or feel like mommy's gonna love me less because now she has to share her heart with someone else. So for me, I'm still figuring all of that out, but I am setting boundaries where this
That's
person
it
just
right there.
they haven't met them
Setting
yet, and it's
boundaries.
for those
Hmm.
reasons. Yeah.
Setting boundaries, I think, are very important because my son is hugely protective of me. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I've had the conversation with myself that if somebody was to come along and I'd be serious about it, that I would have to. I said to him now it could be a situation like this, son, and I will need you to honor who he is and know
Mm-hmm.
that your mom is not going to just willy nilly bring somebody into our lives that not
Exactly.
going to be treating me well. I said,
Yeah.
so having that conversation with them, setting boundaries for both, even for him, whoever him is. I have a
Mm-hmm.
very protective son. He does not want to see me get hurt. So if you
Yeah.
see him behave in a way, like my son, I was leaving when we were going to North Carolina to go see Cookie for her workshop, Greg,
Mm-hmm.
Greg came to pick us up. And my son, I didn't realize it. Greg told me later. My son stayed out there and took the license plate in the description of his car.
Oh, did he now?
I didn't realize it. Greg told me, he said, your son took my license plate down, right? I said,
Wow.
no, he was standing there waiting. He said, your son took my license plate down. I saw him take his phone out. I said, what?
So even
So
at this age, yeah.
right, and he had never met Gray before, so of course he trusted me enough, but he was doing things
His,
himself to make sure that
yeah.
if something happened to my mom, I got a place to
I
start,
got you.
right? Right,
Right.
yeah, and I had no idea because that's my son. He moves kind of stealthily. He won't
Mm,
tell you what he's doing, but what he's doing is all for his comfort and for my
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
He'll check my location, or if I when I travel, if I haven't let him know in a certain time that I have arrived at the hotel, he'll
Yeah.
text you good. You know what I mean? Just things like that, and I know it's all about him wanting to make sure I'm safe. But then too, I want to be mindful of who I bring into my life.
Yeah.
If you're just we'll see what happens. You probably not gonna know about my son.
Right.
But if you're somebody who I'm thinking, okay, let's see where this goes, then yeah, I'm gonna let you in that way. Cause so you're
Yeah.
just someone like, okay, this probably just gonna be a one night stander, and I don't mean intimately, just one date stand
Mm,
type thing.
mm,
I'm more than likely not gonna let you in like that because I'm very protective of my family as a whole. So setting boundaries. I just want to emphasize the part about setting boundaries.
yeah. And I know we've had put up the reflection question. If we could pop it back up. What boundaries protect what boundaries protect love instead of limiting it? What boundaries protect love instead of limiting it? And that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really great
I like
question.
that question a lot.
Marcy, over to you, Queen.
Whew. What your son do? Take down that license plate? What I say in one of our earlier, baby, give me your license. Let me get your license plate.
Mm-mm.
I'm distributing this to my distro list of people who can run license. Let me know if you got felonies and some more. But that's another thing. That was in my earlier years.
Miss Marcy, you a trip.
I keep having these flashbacks. They funny. Regulations, triggers, and reality. Triggers around authority and belonging. And managing emotional reactions. So, excuse me. With that, like I said, me and my parenting, my second act parenting. Like I said, with my bonus daughter, things were it was a whole lot easier. It was just easier. My son, by the time my former husband came along, my son was grown. they were bringing cases of coronas, like, oh, I got coronas too. I got a case of corona. Oh, we got beer for the next week or two. So my former husband and my husband, they got along extremely well. He was like, look, I'm happy for, she ain't got to call me for everything. She ain't got to bother me. So he was happy about that. But when my now, I don't have a husband, and I listen, now I gotta call him for stuff. But even now, because I am an empty nester, so I don't have to worry about not worry about what my son thinks, but also I know that it's not going to be with so much of a problem because he don't live here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also I will know, like, if I was to date somebody seriously and my son is around them and he like, hey mom, nah, this ain't gonna work. I will have to honor
Mm-hmm.
what he says,
Right.
because I know for a fact he is trying to palm me off on just about anybody that'll take me. Like, you wanna take a but also if he feels as if this person isn't giving him the right vibes, he would tell me. Um staying regulated during conflict. Woo! We ain't got time for the story I gotta tell. But let me tell you, children will try you. Other people's children,
Mm.
I would say I didn't go to jail, but that would be a lie.
Okay. As you drop that bomb,
Uh-huh. And you know what? And on that one, we going straight into our grounding tools.
we
Cause
probably need the ground about right now.
so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take 45 seconds, okay? And you're gonna pause, breathe, and then we're gonna ask yourself, is this mine to carry? And being a bonus parent, a lot of times I know I had to step back
Yep.
and realize, not my monkey, not my circus.
Mm.
Let them clowns, y'all figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on that note, we're gonna do 45 minutes, and we're gonna breathe in, and you're gonna hold this for a few minutes, and you're gonna think, is this mine to carry? And as you breathe out real slow through your nose, really slow, is this yours to carry? And honestly, when you're in when you're in a time of conflict, for whatever, if it's the child, if it's the child's mother, if it's for us the father
Mm-hmm.
acting crazy, remove yourself, take some breaths,
Yeah.
and then ask yourself, is this mine to carry?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. If it doesn't directly harm you and your children, walk away from it.
Mm.
Clear.
Love it. Now, there's pros, cons, and conscious choices that we can make. And I'll touch on the pros. Expanded love. This means there are more people who care about you. Love isn't limited. Sometimes it grows and includes more support, encouragement, and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next one is emotional growth. being in this kind of situation can help someone learn patience. And I think that's something that um, I've seen firsthand where, because again, you're taking on maybe somebody's responsibility, a mom
Mhm.
that cannot be a mother to that child,
Yeah.
right? So it teaches you patience, it teaches the other parent patience, understanding and how to handle feelings better. It helps people mature emotionally. Then there's the shared parenting wisdom. So these are all pros. This means adults can learn from each other when it comes to raising children, sharing
Mhm.
advice, experiences, and ideas to help everyone do better. Because I know for me, growing up in a Caribbean home, it would be different than someone growing up maybe down south.
Right.
So that's when we could come together and communicate. And we talked about maturity. We have to be able, if we're choosing to do life together, blended. I think Alicia Keys and what's her husband's name? I forgot.
Beats,
Yeah,
beats,
they
Swiss
have
beats.
blended family vacations, and not every I can't do that. I won't do that. But some people they're okay to do that.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not seeing me on vacation, but to God be the glory.
Like I
Some of the
like I
con
said, my bonus daughter's mother was at our wedding.
well, there you go, and that's lovely. Like I love that, but I just know with the situation, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, and I know
Yeah.
with my sons, like I said, my son's first stepmother. Yeah,
Hmm.
we took all the kids, piled these jokers up, and we all going to somebody's park. So,
Yeah.
but
And it's good for the children when you can do that for in regards to the children's mental being.
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
have loved that, I would have
hmm
loved to go on vacation and do things, but we just and maybe who knows,
It's
when they're older, maybe they'll be the bridge breaker. I don't know.
it's very
But
healthy when you see blended families can come together where the husband has remarried, the wife has remarried, and the children
hmm
on both sides they can go and do a group family blended family vacation or event
yeah,
together, and there really is no hard feelings, and I think that comes when everybody has accepted that
yeah,
was it is no more. We have moved on to
exactly.
something else. It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. And really being honest and accepting of that is where maturity steps in. Like, you know what? There's
hmm
no reason why we can't be civil to each other or even
Right.
to the point of friends. Because I've seen it. Marcy was saying how
Mhm.
her husband's former wife, and they do things together and they're friends. It just takes a level of maturity and
Yeah,
acceptance that
yeah,
is no more. We have decided to move on. So why? I saw a clip of this girl telling this guy, "I know you got a girlfriend, but I was first. So show, where is she? Where is she?" I'm thinking, what are we doing? What are we doing?
right.
Just because you were first and you still got a place, you don't have a place in his life anymore. Accepting what
Exactly.
is and what isn't. You have
Yeah.
chosen to move on. Well, somebody chose to move on. And I think when
hmm
you have that conflict, somebody hasn't chosen to move on. Someone
Exactly.
hasn't accepted this is what it is now. Someone
Yeah.
hasn't accepted, well, you know what? We just weren't a good match for each other. We have a child together. We're going to raise this child together, but we were not a good match for each other. And when it takes a level of maturity and responsibility to say, listen, I want to, I want to have peace in my household. So I'm going to accept what it is, but if the other party not willing to, then the other party is not welcome in our
hmm
space. So
hmm
I hope yours and the extended get to a point of being able to do that, because with my bonus children's mothers, I never had an issue with them
hmm
because I understood that, listen, if he wanted y'all, he would still be with y'all.
Right. But you know
I
what's
said,
crazy? Not even crazy. I think it's not the mother. It's the guy. It's their dad. And when you don't
I kind of
mature, it's
figured,
like you don't know how to. But
yep.
it's interesting enough when they both graduated last year. And again, me just being me, I was never introduced to this person, but because this is the actual wife, I knew she was there, and it was time to take pictures with the children. And I said, "Do you guys want me to take the picture?" Sure. And I took the picture. And when it was time to leave, I said, "Well, you guys drive back safe." And that was it. And it was just interesting enough. Like, I don't want you. This is your wife. So I don't, it was just very, very interesting. But I felt very comfortable. And again,
Yeah.
that came with healing. That came with being okay with my space,
Right.
those boundaries that
Exactly.
was set. This is your new queen.
Mm-hmm.
And they took that family photo. Now there's some cons, the hard things. Complexity. Things can feel confusing because more people are involved
Yep.
and everyone has different feelings, rules, and expectations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Emotional restraint. Sometimes you have to hold back your feelings
Yeah.
instead of saying or doing whatever you want. That
Mm-hmm.
can feel very hard or frustrating because
Yep.
even if you feel like you want to correct or you don't want to, again, it's those boundaries. And again, communicating, conversating. Hey, I don't like
Mm-hmm.
what your oldest did. How can we approach that situation?
Yeah.
Um, and those are hard things. Need for constant communication, like I just said, people have to talk often and
Yeah.
clearly to avoid misunderstandings. if they don't feel if they don't feel, feelings can get hurt. And I think
Yeah.
that's so true. So these are pros and cons, and then the conscious choice. Now again, we chose to go into this together. How are we going to make it work? Right? And if you feel like this is going to be too much to bear, then don't say yes. Right? This is not what I signed up for. I didn't realize your child was,
A
bad.
demon seed.
And not to say my prayers can't turn them around, but I don't have to. That's not my responsibility. But again, who knows? Maybe we're chosen. Maybe we are the chosen one to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So this
Unchoose me.
So I'm going to bring it home. This means no one should feel pushed into a role just because it's there. It should be a
Yeah.
decision someone makes on purpose, not something that slowly happens without them noticing. You became a bonus parent overnight and you didn't realize what you didn't know there was three baby mothers. You didn't, but
Had no clue.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have a reflection question. Am I showing up from choice or obligation? And sometimes it could be
Well,
both.
Yeah,
listen, for
yeah.
me, it was out of obligation because I had no idea they existed.
Right. Right.
But you chose to stay.
I did. I
Right.
did. I did. I did. And I'll say that I don't regret it as a result because my second bonus son, his mother passed away when he was young. I
Mm,
think he might have been 11 or 12.
okay.
And now his father has passed away 2 years ago.
Right.
So he having that anchor of a parent,
Yeah.
someone in the parent role. He calls me mom just
You were
as if I
chosen.
was his child. I think
Yeah.
is important for him because his father passing was very hard on him because they were good friends as well as father and son. And he has his father's name. So carrying on that name, etc., is just a lot for him. So I don't regret it at all because although they were there, the only one that I had really direct engagement with was his second son because he lived with us, right? His oldest son, I would see him whenever he came over to visit, and it was always very pleasant and all. So the challenge came when I started to have children, especially my firstborn being a girl and they
Okay.
being boys, being very protective of her.
Yeah.
And sometimes it went too far. The protectiveness of her went too far, and I would have to
On your
intervene.
part?
Huh?
On your protected, too protective on your part?
Their part. They were just
Oh,
too. They didn't want her to do anything. And so,
okay.
and their dad feeling the same way. But I'm like the mom, like, hey, wait, all she needs to get some exposure to be able to know how to deal with these things,
Okay.
how to date. And
Okay.
so so having a dad and two brothers that don't want you to do anything, and here I
Mm,
am, recognizing if y'all don't let her do anything, she's not going to get any experience. So there
right.
were when she got older, there were some dynamics to navigate, but being a bonus parent, it is a choice that we have to make with eyes wide open. And no, you
Hmm.
can't come up with every scenario that could exist that could come up in that relationship.
Right.
But being asking asking these questions like Ms. Marcy and you both said, do you have you birthed you the father of any children? How many?
Okay.
How many? How many carry your name and how many don't?
Right.
Right?
How
Ask
many dockets do you have for child support?
Exactly. Doing the research, and people may say that's crazy. Why you have to do your research about the information is available out there for a reason. So do your research. Check the police records. See how many times they've been arrested. All these things because
Don't do that for me though.
but it's important information to know. But when it comes down to being a bonus parent, there's a lot of responsibilities that go along with it. Not only dealing with the children, you have to deal with the parent outside of the relationship and the family, the grandmother of the child,
Mm,
right? The grandfather of the child, the aunts of the child, the uncles of the
right.
child. There's a whole branch of that goes along with that child, and really assessing yourself that am I ready for this? Do I want this at any time in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Because it really will affect the entire relationship. It affects you and you having to deal with all these dynamics. So giving yourself, being honest with yourself, if that means not having that man, please, for the sake of everything holy, do not go into a relationship with a man when you know darn skip it well you don't like children. Please don't. Please don't. Please
Well,
don't.
hold up. Did y'all hear about the man? He had like 100 kids. So I just want to know from baby mama number, I'll say 7 to 100. How in the ham sandwich did you let this man even look your way?
Now,
And
could it?
especially the last one, them last 50 kids. I'm sorry, them last 60 kids. This Joker, he was on Ayana Van Zandt, and this Joker had 100
That's
children.
irresponsibility for me because there's no way. I don't believe. Well, I don't know, but I don't think he had the bandwidth socially, emotionally, or financially to take care of 100 children.
He didn't have
That's
the
I was gonna
bandwidth to take
ask.
care of
Does he?
himself.
Because what's his name? Nick Cannon. I think he has about maybe that much, but it's more so sperm donation so that he can have children out there that
But Nick
can
Cannon can take
help the
care of
world.
these jokers.
Well,
This
that's
was somebody down in Mississippi, no dental plan.
mm.
I'm like, what? First of all, I need y'all to all take tests because y'all is having sex with this joker
See,
with no.
that would be a def. Anything past 3 children, my eyebrow gonna raise because you're
Right.
talking 4 children now, and they're minors. They definitely know that
It
would be.
don't 100 kids. I don't care how old they are. You got 97 too
He,
many.
listen, he ain't old enough for any of them to be older than him. I know that. So there's they are all going to be minor. Listen, half of that 100 going to be minors. Half that group
Well,
going to be minors.
probably about 20 of them got the same birthday.
I was gonna say the same thing.
So whether it's 1 or 100, ask the questions, y'all. Ask the
Yeah,
questions.
Especially
Ask
for
up
the
us.
questions
front.
of yourself.
Don't beat around the
Are you
bush.
listen?
Yeah.
Are you ready for what it takes to be a bonus parent?
Yeah.
Even just dating, because dating it comes into play with dating. We were having a conversation earlier about you only can you would you all because you don't like children, you only you only see him on the days he don't have the child. It's, it, at some point, the child gonna be brought into the equation.
Right.
You have to determine is this something that you truly want, and if not, you might want to make a different decision because at some point oh yeah, this wasn't my weekend, but something went wrong, and I had to have a,
Mhm.
I brought him, brought him along with us.
Oh, fun.
So I'm laughing only because it's such a close subject, but it's very serious. That
Yeah.
if you really just ask yourself the right questions, okay, and if it's just something that you know that it's a, and I don't like this term, but I'm gonna say it. If that person is just a placeholder, then you don't have to worry about it. Do
Right.
what you're gonna do. Be wise and be honest. But if it's somebody you're seriously gonna consider a relationship with, then you
Yeah.
want to ask the right questions. So let's get to these affirmations, y'all. Let's see. I can get my screen right. Woohoo! Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. Let's get to our affirmations. You can bypass that reflection. We're just gonna go straight to the affirmations. Sorry, I should have said so. I choose roles that honor my capacity, not just my heart.
Amen.
I protect my peace while nurturing healthy connections. In the second act, I choose balance, love with limits, openness with wisdom, and presence without pressure.
Mm.
God gives me clarity to love well without overstepping or losing myself. And our scripture, love is patient, love is kind. 1 Corinthians
Mm.
13, verse 4.
Amen and amen. So thank you everyone for listening. Miss Marcy, Miss Cliffy, you got any closing remarks before we go?
Show up
It's
because you
yeah,
want
and
to,
always love
not
on
because you
yourself.
do. Mm-hmm.
Always
Mm-hmm.
love on yourself
Yes.
Something
because
that
you
we
are your what?
first priority. So act
So
like
you
it.
got to do what?
Act like it.
Ah, no.
Yes, we are our first priority, so we must act like it. And don't let those just be words. Let those be words that
Yes.
activate you into action. And until next time, everybody, make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn the notification on, and peace and blessings to you all. See ya.